Alright, here we go. So, alright, so we're on section. Now this is going to seem a little weird. We're jumping to section 4.8 today. That's going to be our new part. We're going to be talking about dividing today. We've talked about multiplying the last couple days in a row, but we're going to jump to multiplying decimals today. Now, to begin with, what I want to talk about today, because I know we have some new stuff we have to cover. The new part today, we'll get to that. But what I want to do right now, let's do a quick review of multiplying. Okay, let's talk about on multiplying our products, whatever you want to call it. Multiplying, or quote unquote a product. I want to do a quick review of the different methods of it. So I'm going to do an example of the method that you guys pretty much choose, I think almost all the time, which is column method. I think you guys, most of you choose that. I'm going to do one quick review of that, give you an example, and then I'll give you some time to work on your homework, because that homework is due tomorrow. And I've been updating the grade book just to make sure that you can check your grades and see kind of what's up to date and whatnot. All right, now for the new stuff today, because we will have new notes today, we're going to be dividing. Okay, now let me write down what division is here. Division, or dividing,
no, when dividing, you have to line up the decimal.
Yep, we don't have to line up decimals. We're going to be dealing with a quotient today. There's one method that we're going to use. I know there was a second, but the method we're going to choose today, the method, is going to be long division or house method. Long division or house. Which is, the good thing is if you have your multiplication chart, it definitely makes it easy. But we're going to do that after homework. So I'm going to give you some time to work on homework right here. Again, if you're not working, I'll stop the time that we're not working on, and we're going to go right into the notes, and then we'll probably get your homework tomorrow. But if you are working on your homework, like legitimately actually working, trying to get it done, then I'll let you have more time than you think today to actually work. And then we'll get back into the notes right before the last 10, 15 minutes of class. But let's do a quick review of a multiplication problem. I think one of your homework problems looks something like this. 74.658 times 0.042. This is one of those problems that I wanted to talk about because of how they set it up and how evil that is. Okay, now, we talked about two different methods, right? We had column method and we had the normal lattice method. On this particular problem, go column method and forget the decimals and forget the zeros. Okay? So, if we're going to write this down, what number should I put on the top? Do you guys remember from last week?
First one.
First one, right? And when you write it down, oh, geez, I wrote it down wrong. When you write it down, forget the decimal. So 74658. So it's like you're doing 74,000, no decimal on it. The next number that we're going to multiply by, what's that number without the decimal on it?
42.
42. Notice, don't write down the zeros. You can ignore them. You can fill in the decimal point where it needs to go later. Okay? So now that we have that, let's multiply by a 2. 2 times 8.
2 times 8, 16.
16, carry the 1. 2 times 5 plus 1.
11.
11. Okay, good. 2 times 6.
13.
13, because you had the 1 already. 2 times 8. Or 2 times 4.
8.
Plus 1.
9.
9. You said 2 times 7.
14.
Perfect. All right. Now, Sam, you're up. So I'm gonna put the egg here because we need a little 0.
You're forgetting a thing.
Yeah, you gotta remember that. So the reason why I had to throw that in there because we're skipping the 2. We're done with the 2. All right. So Sam, you can give me the numbers now. Hopefully, you have your multiplication chart. I don't think I have them, so you guys have to have them on you. Yes, you guys have to have them. I never got them back. Okay. So.
I can get out.
Perfect. All right. So Sam, 4 times 8, please.
32.
32, we're going to carry the 3. Okay. 4 times 5 with the 3 above it.
23.
23, good. Carry the 2. 4 times 6 with the 2 above it.
26.
26. Carry the 2. 4 times 4 with the 2 above it.
18.
18. Carry the 1. 4 times 7. Carry the 1.
29.
29. All right. Now, you just have to make sure at this point that numbers are lined up correctly. And if you can't, maybe you need to draw lines on there. That's why I said I would almost recommend you use grid paper when you do this.
Yep.
6 plus 0, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, what am I doing? 9 plus 6 is 15, carry 1. 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry a 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11. And 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, where does the decimal need to go? How many spots over?
4.
Nope, not 4. How many spots over does the decimal need to go?
Well, where's the decimal at?
The decimal is technically right here right now, because we don't have it in there. So it's in the back. We have to move it over. How many spots?
Oh. 6.
6. The reason why, there's 3 and 3, so you have to move it over 6. 1, 2,
So that'd
3.
be in front of 1.
Right there, yep. So this is your answer. The big thing that will prevent you from getting to this final answer, you forget to carry the 0. You forget to throw in the 0 when you're going to that next row. When you go to the next row, you have to skip the 2, so you have to put a 0 there, and then start with the 4. If you have 3 digits, you have to skip the 4, you have to put 2 zeros down. However many numbers you're skipping over. Okay? How many numbers you crossed out, I think, at that point. That's probably the easiest way to think of it. Alright, questions. I'm going to leave that on the board. Okay, here's your homework. This is the stuff that you had that I gave you Friday. You'll have about 15, 20 minutes today to work, and then we're going to do some notes at the very end of class today. So it's page 104, 7 through 12, and it's exercise C, and these are the ones at the top of the page. Okay, definitely take your time work. I'm going to hand out grid paper if you need it, like lined paper, so you can actually multiply with actual grid. And then if you owe me anything, I will make sure that I'll hand you a little sticky note that has them all in there. We've only had a select few, we're just starting the semester, so hopefully you're not too far behind. But again, this grid paper should help so you can carry numbers down, 1 number per box, that type of thing, so you don't lose track. That should help you out with multiplying. Alright, I'm going to stop the camera. We'll pick it up here once we're done with the time allotted for homework.
Page was it again?
Okay, so let's talk about division now. We're going to start with kind of an easy step. We're going to do kind of an easier problem first. Then we'll throw in kind of a decimal, and we'll try to finish with kind of a harder problem. So we've got 3 problems I'd like to go over. Now just remember the homework that I just had on the board a little bit ago, that is due on Tuesday, that's tomorrow. So keep that in mind. I'll probably be emailing out probably parents tonight, tomorrow, kind of let them know kind of what's missing from student to student. So just kind of be well aware of that. All right, but let's talk about division. Division or quotients. This is kind of the new thing, right? This is the new part today. Quotient is when you are trying to separate bigger numbers into smaller piles. But that is no longer going to be the case where you just try to separate. So the things we've done before is we've done problems like this. We've done like 112 and we've divided by 4. We've done that before. Okay. Let's talk about how you actually set up division, like all the different ways division can look. Division, they can write with a little colon method here, right?
Division be fractions.
It can be a fraction, yeah. So 112 divided by 4. Okay. They can even slant that, so they can draw it like with a little diagonal. They can say divided by with actually word form. 112 divided by 4. So there's a bunch of different ways they can write it. There's one more that is more important, and that's the method we're going to be learning here. The method that I want to focus on, other than those other ways of writing it, is called long division. Long division. Okay? Long division requires that one of the numbers is in the house. It's the house method, if you will. Okay? Now, when you look at this problem, so I'm going to go back to the original, not all of these. Which number goes in the house?
The big number.
Okay, that's usually how it works, and you were right? In this case, this is the way we've always done it. 112 goes on the inside, the 4 goes on the outside. Because, here's how it works. The first number is called the dividend, and the second number is called the divisor, when you write it like this. So the dividend has to get in the house, the end, and then the divisor is on the outside. It's what you're trying to divide by, divisor. Okay? So, here's how it works. How many times can 4 get closest to 11? So if you use your multiplication chart, you find the number 4, go across, and get close to 11 as possible.
You're only closest, you're gonna get to 12, but you can't go
You can't go
over.
to 12 because you can't go over. So what's the one smaller than 12?
8.
8. So I want to get as close, the closest I can get is 8, right? That's the closest number I get to the 11, because I couldn't go
Two
to
on
10.
top.
So you have to put a 2 on the top. So you have to follow the 8 up and write the number that was on the top of that multiplication chart. Then you subtract. 11 minus 8 is 3. You bring down the next digit. Now how close can 4 get to 32?
On point. 8.
8 perfectly, right? You can get, 4 can get as close to 32, you can actually get there perfectly, because there is a 32 on your list, which if you go above that chart, there was an 8 above the 32. And when you subtract, you get a 0, and that's what you want to happen. You want to get the remainder to be 0. This is called the remainder. Okay, if the number is left over, there is a technical way you can go past that. And we've talked about that in the last couple chapters. You can make fractions out of it and whatnot. So we're going to try a couple of these out today where we try to divide and it doesn't work out to be a nice pretty number. Okay, questions with this?
Nope.
Okay, that was the old school long division, right? We're going to change it up and go a little bit different now. Here's what we're going to do. Just a hair different. Not just the numbers, but the actual look of it. Okay, here's what we're going to take. So if you want to write this example down, we're going to go 12.846, and we're going to divide by 0.02. We're going to divide by decimals now. Here's the cool part. It's not different. It's actually the exact same thing you just did a little bit ago. It just looks weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how it works. Okay, let me get rid of this house. We're going to figure out what number we write in the house and what number we put on the outside here in a second. Okay,
You got a house already, eh?
so we have our house. All right,
Didn't you just get that house?
yeah. So, of these two numbers, the number you have to put in the house has to be the front number. I don't care if that's bigger or smaller.
It always has to be the front
It
one.
has to be the front number. This is always the dividend. It's the number that is going to go in the house no matter if it's big or small. So that's the 12.846, okay? The number on the outside would obviously have to be the 0.02. Agreed? Okay, now, you're probably looking and going, Ward, that doesn't look the same. We have decimals. What's the deal? How do we get around this? Here's how you do it. You have to get rid of the decimal on the outside first. So, what I would like to do is if I drag this decimal all the way behind the 2, it makes it a nice clean whole number, right? So that makes it a 2 on the outside. Like this. If I put the decimal behind it, correct? I don't need the zeros out front?
Yep.
How many spots did you move the decimal over? How many spots did it move?
2.
You have to move the 1 on the inside too as well.
Ah.
So this makes it 1,284.6. Because you have to move it over exactly how many spots you moved it on the outside. The outside actually controls what you're going to move at that decimal. So if there's no decimal on the outside, you don't move it. If there is a decimal, then you have to move it to the back. It has to be behind the farthest number. Okay, makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to do the same math. So, I know that 2 cannot go into 1, but what's the number that 2 can go closest to 12? What's the closest 2 can get to 12?
10.
Nope.
What?
Can I get closest to 12 without going over?
Oh, wait, you can get on point.
Yeah, you get right on 12, right? What's the number above 12 then? Go straight up,
Yeah,
6,
6.
okay? So then we subtract, we get 0, you bring down the next number, so we're bringing down to 8, okay? How close can 2 get to 8?
4.
Yeah, exactly 4 times, so we can get exactly to 8, and the number above the house is a 4, because we get closest to 8, okay? When we subtract, you get a 0, you bring the next number down. So now we gotta get to 4. So how close can we get? Exactly, yep, so it's gonna be 4 here, and there's a 2 above the house, because 2 times 2 is 4. You subtract, you get 0. We're bringing on the next number, which is 6. How close can 2 get to 6?
3.
3 times. We have 3 in, and then we put the 6 down below, and we subtract now. If you're looking at my problem, do you notice that inside the house there is a decimal? Inside the house. Okay? All you have to do is if you line up these numbers correctly, okay, like this. This is how, this is how I'm lining them up. I'm lining up directly above the numbers we went with. Okay? This decimal will come straight up here, and that's how it works. We're going to practice this more and more tomorrow. It's the same math you've always done. We just have to move the decimal, and you have to make sure it's in the correct spot. The one thing I'm kind of worried about is where you're going to put it. So I'll kind of teach you a little strategy tomorrow so that you are guaranteed that that decimal will go in the right spot every single time. Okay?
Yep.
Questions?
Nope.
Done for the day. Nice and easy.